So
I am.
Aaron, can you hear Dave when he speaks? Dave speak.
Hi, Aaron. Okay. All right, guys and girls, welcome to the November 2021 OLUG meeting. The only big news that in my house last week was Roblox. Roblox was down for about 3 days. I heard some things about maybe some database corruption that might have been causing it. All I know is that the New York Times put out a headline that said Roblox is down, thousands of children forced to go outside on Halloween. And my son told me all weekend long, this is boring. So he was very happy when it came back up.
Maybe you had time to put that video card in.
Yeah. I think that video card's in it. So let's see. Okay, so our next meeting will be December 7th. And this will be our lightning talks and social. So if you've got a talk for, maybe 5 minutes, maybe a little longer, we'll string a few of those together. And then after that, we'll have some socialization. Not socialism. And now, as far as next year, I have not put out a call for speakers yet, but I will hopefully do that this weekend. Now that some of the holiday things have slowed down. I had no idea Halloween was going to be such an involved thing. And we had a great roster of speakers last year. I'm hoping we can do the same thing this year. And I think I only had to do 2, so that would be my goal, two or less. So keep an eye on the Discord and keep an eye on the mailing list, and we'll talk about the call for speakers in a few days. Okay. Tonight, Chad Holman has some interesting stuff about, is it direnv and gopass?
Yeah.
Okay. These are utilities that I have not played with in my lab, and I'm looking forward to learning about this. So I will, without any further ado. No, just Roblox.
The Dora 35 dropped today.
Oh.
Wow.
That's what I.
And my desktop is currently unavailable. Oh, I know what I'm doing.
Well, I know what I'm doing this weekend.
I did see the title of the video on the list, Ubuntu. It's like, this is the worst Ubuntu in years.
Again?
I don't know what that means. I have not watched the video.
It's kind of scary. I actually was cleaning out my lab last week, and I found in Ubuntu 2010.04. I don't know if it was LTS, but the fact that it's been around for 11 years, and that would have started about 2004. Huh?
You got 1004?
Yeah, that was the CD I found.
1006 actually.
Oh.
No, you're right, 1004.
Yeah. 4 and 10, isn't it?
2006, but must go back to
it's 4 and 10.
4 is the first one.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear about Ubuntu, but I'm very excited about Fedora 35. So, is there an 8.5 out? I don't know. Rocky,
it's available on Windows. It's all images.
Okay, 8.4 has been out for a while.
Red Hat only announced beta for
Okay, so they're probably just, they're probably furiously,
They're probably a month behind.
yeah.
Well, let me take a look.
It took about a month from, they started, after the beta, it took them probably 4 or 5 weeks to get done the beta up. And then after that, when they went to the release, it still took at least a few weeks to go. So
All right, so.
that's it. I'm ready.
Yeah, let me-
Take it away, Chad.
I'm gonna remove spotlight. Would you put spotlight on Chad? Okay. You can go through and.
Need to reshare or is it all
Yeah,
reshared?
you'll need to reshare. So you want to choose. If you do, there you go.
I don't need that there. All right, perfect. Nope.
Did you mute Dave?
Yes.
Well, I'll fix it for you.
Oh, my
no.
mic, my mute mic.
I opened it. There
Okay.
you go. Chad, you're good. You're ready to roll.
All right, so talked to some people about this before. Other people thought it was a great idea. Maybe that was misled, but I decided it was a good idea anyway. So you should be securing your development environments right now, or your project environments, or whatever environment is that you think you need to secure. You should do that now. And 2 tools you should look at for doing that are direnv and gopass. So the problem, what is the problem? The problem is that people have passwords or benign passwords and we don't know what to do them. So what's the solution? Shell prompts. So we have really cool shell prompts like Starship. Starship is awesome. It's a cross-platform informative prompt. It's very minimalistic. I'm starting to get a little laughs here that people are realizing this whole slide's a joke, and it is a joke. I'm just kidding. But you know what? Starship is a really awesome prompt. Bash Git prompt would be my second prompt to you. The reason why I threw those in there is because they are dynamic when it comes to your repositories. So let me bring that slide back up here. So what's neat about these 2 prompts is, well, the first one's cross-platform, which makes it really good if you work on both Linux and Windows. However, when you CD into a repository, they're aware enough to change your prompt to let you know what branch you're in, information about that branch versus the upline repository, things like that. Bash Git prompt does the exact same thing. It's a bash wrapper, so limited use on Windows. But yeah, that was just a joke I want to throw in there. You guys can see what it looks like when I get to my demo. So anyway, so here's the disclaimer for this talk. Once you see all this stuff, you can't undo it. So now's your time to leave. Any takers? No takers? All right, here we go. So the real problem. So I was working with a team of people up at where I work at, but it was a remote group of people. And in their repository, they were leveraging a really cool tool called direnv, which I am a big fan of. I just didn't see a good use for direnv when I first learned about it. However, in their repository and direnv, they were using passwords in the clip. Now this is bad. I mean, it's bad. Yeah, it's absolutely bad, but they're benign passwords, but they're still passwords. So it's bad, right? And this is one of the problems that you have. You shouldn't put passwords in a repository because Git never forgets. And if you do put passwords in a repository, there are ways to remove that password, but you're talking about things like rebasing, which now you lose your history. So how important is your history of your repository to you as you're cleaning up your repository? So a lot of people end up moving to a different solution where they, outside of that directory, they'll source in an environment file that has all the passwords in it. So it's not part of the repository, which is great, but they're still in the clear. So if somebody hacks into your system and CDs and starts running around your system, they find files that have passwords riddled through them. And this could be anything from passwords to API keys to, I don't know, even SSH keys and things like that. So these are things that we should take a little bit more seriously and handle them a little bit better. So I think I already discussed most of these, and there's got to be a better way to do this, and there is. And so the first tool we're going to talk about is, well, we're not going to talk about scripts, but scripts could do the same thing, right? You can use scripts to source in the environment files. Same scripts can load in the environment files of house secrets. It's not very much ideal. However, a better solution. First up, we're going to talk about dir environment. So from the web page, dir environment, you unclutter your profile. Get rid of all those environment variables that you have stashed inside there. It's an extension for your shell, and it works across multiple shells. It works with ZSH, Bash, a whole bunch of shells I never even heard of. The one it does not work with at the moment is PowerShell on Windows. However, there is a utility out there called Posture environment. And Posture environment, your mileage is going to vary on what this talk and Posture environment can do for you, but it can load and unload variables. And we're going to get to a really cool demo on loading up those variables. So here's kind of the basics. You create a file in your repository or your project called .envrc. That file is pretty much export, variable name equals whatever the contents of that variable needs to be. Outside of your directory, in your home directory, you can put a top level dir environment RC file under the dot, sorry, there should be a dot there. So .config dir environment RC file. But what does it do? It does variables. I already talked about that. It also does commands. I found this out the other day, so this is really neat. I have a situation at work where we have to do man-in-the-middle attacks. Not ideal, don't like them, hate them. But if I have to update those certs or I clear out that repository, it's too easy. Human error gets in the way. You forget to put those man-in-the-middle certs back in there. Now you can't get to the internet. And you're like, man, I just spent 2 hours trying to do something. So I wrote a little tiny hook for basically a one-line find command that says, if I see a directory inside my repository that says certs, then from the home directory certs, rsync everything into that directory. So now a dir environment, what it just did for me is if I cd in my directory, it'll automatically load my variables. It'll automatically install my certs. But it also handles virtual environments. That's not going to be a topic of this talk, but let me throw this out there. So a lot of Python programs are doing things with virtual environments. Rust programs are doing things with virtual environments. The one thing that's really difficult for us humans always to remember is I cd in there, oh God, I got to activate that darn environment. And then when you leave, you got to deactivate your environment. There are hooks in dir environment to automate this entire process flow. I cd in there, I engage into my environment, and then when I leave, I exit from that virtual environment. So it makes it very transparent to the developer or you cding into it. Next tool is gopass. It's a simple password manager. It's written in Go. It's GPG by default, so it's very secure. It's also Git by default, which makes it a really good Teams password manager. So there's other tools out there like LastPass and Bitwarden. I think they're very cool tools. However, when you go to share passwords, they cost money. May or may not be a concern for you. What's nice about this is it's on the command line. It's command line driven. And since it's Git by default, you can synchronize that with the Git repository. And you use the other team members' public key to handle all the access to those keys. And we're going to get into a demo on that as well. Yeah, that's a good thing to mention here too. So gopass uses what they call password stores. So what's really nice about that is everything sits under one directory. However, I can use it to store, say, my bank's passwords and all that stuff. But I don't want Dave getting access to my bank's passwords, right? So if we were working on a project together, we would create a whole nother store that would synchronize through one of our favorite Git repositories. You would give me your public key. I would add it to that repository and tell you to go do a gopass sync. Now you see only the passwords inside that store. Now we can share that those secrets a lot better and cleaner. And they're encrypted, right? Okay. So if I'm going a little bit too fast, let me know. And if you have any questions, I'll take them on a hit-by-hit basis. Both these tools are very easy to install. I didn't include information on how to install them. If anybody wants to try to follow along on the command line, let me know. I'll hand you the URLs. But we can do that. So let's go to a demo real quick. I can figure out how to. So this is my fancy Starship prompt here. So I'm going to CD into repos.
Can you increase the font size?
Yes, I can. How's that working for you? Better?
I can't see the big one. There.
That might be as large as I can get it. So. Let's see here, CD the repos. So we'll zoom. We'll explain everything that just happened there real quick. So, as you can see here, I CD'd in the directory. Everybody saw a pop-up come up. That was GPG getting in the way. It was saying, give me basically your passphrase to get into the store. And you see here, your environment's loading the envrc file, and it says I'm exporting these variables here. And this is our nice little Starship prompt here telling us that we're in this directory on the branch name. And this entire process here took 9 seconds. Now, real quick, I'm just going to CD out of the directory real quick, and you see that your environment says I'm getting rid of all the variables. Okay, so if I do like an echo dollar var one's not set, but now if I CD back into your environment, we see that var one is ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4. So right there, we have an automatic loading and unloading of the environment variable just by entering and leaving the directory. This is what that dir environment RC file looks like. So effectively what I'm doing is I'm exporting a single variable called awesome. And my other two variables that are being executed here are actually looking into specific password stores. One of them happens to be called demo, the other one happens to be called private, looking for specific things that in this case are variable oriented. So probably in some sort of build script, I have a variable that says $GitHub password, right? And that is returning that. So when I entered in here and you saw that pop-up box, that was basically GPG saying, give me your passphrase. And once I unlocked my store, gopass was able to reproduce those and show those out to the environment variables. Everything good so far? So now, if I do a gopass LS, what you see here is I have 3 stores. One of them doesn't have anything in it, not point, but I have demo, I have private, and I have demo 9. I come down here to my user Bob and do a gopass LS, and you'll see that Bob has access to demo and private. Doesn't have access to demo 9, which would be that separate store that I don't want Bob to see because he's not part of that team, or those are my own passwords that I want to keep separate and private from that.
How did we become Bob? Chat just from. Or you're looking at Bob's.
Yeah, I'm in a different window here, so I'm using Tmux, which is flipping up the 2 multi-pane windows here. So what I did before this thing, I logged in, and then in this side of the window, I SSH in my host here is Bob, and we're 2 users on the same box sharing certain passwords. Good so far? I'm sorry, what?
You just type that.
Yep. Yep. So let's see here. I don't know the state of this the last time I did this, so my mild is going to vary here. So I just did a sync. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say gopass show private GitHub. So we have not the same. I come up here and I do the So that's actually the way I did set this demo up. So we have a case where it worked because of this tool that we implemented here, that we have, Dave, you and I would have the exact same, we'd have a requirement to say, like DCW / API key. But my API key is different from your API keys. But the tool's looking, since the tool that's checked in is calling DCW API key. So both of us have to have the same store, but they're unique to us. So I have my values in there, you have your values in there, because your API is going to be different than my API,
Okay.
correct? However, like in the case where you saw the demo store, those are common passphrases that we're actually sharing. Okay, so you see here that the private key for GitHub password is boo-boo and not the same, right? But if I go look at demo, and let's look at var. So var 1 is currently ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4. I kick down here and I say gopass show demo / var 1, and we see that it's also ABCD 1, 2, 3.4. So gopass edit demo / var. Oh my God, I'm in Nano. The hell, oh my God. I'm just lost, yeah. So we're gonna change this to happy T-Day. Yes, sync. So there you go. So now I have securely changed the passphrase, and all I got to do now is send on the favorite messaging platform to Dave. I just got to say, hey, do a gopass sync, and now you get the new shared team passwords, and that's all done through your favorite Git repository. And I can do more of a demo on that later, but what I want to do now is kind of talk about some of the other tools that are out there, because I'm sure some of you are saying, but what about this tool? What were we doing?
Oh, no, there was a button.
Oh, sorry, I must have missed it. All right, so questions? Yes.
Are you able to, there's a green and a red bar in the middle of your screen. Are you able to drag that up to the top of the recording? Just
Somebody who's more knowledgeable at Zoom needs to help me out here.
It's blocking your screen for the recording.
Anybody got an idea how to get rid of this thing?
Well, I don't think you get rid
How
of
about
it, I
that?
think you just drag it up to the top.
I know every time.
Grab the green bar and.
Okay, there we go. Does that work?
There you
Perfect.
go.
All right, sorry about that. All right, technical difficulties. All right, so direnv environment, there are alternatives to both of these tools. I'm going to make that clear. Right? These are the tools that we're using. These are the tools that seem to be the most cross-platform, most savvy tools that are out there. Direnv environment tools are like environment modules, auto environment, smart card, yeah. So smart, oh, that's supposed to be smart CD. So that was spell checker getting in the way. Enter, so some of them have just the ability to enter and leave, which are basically I want to run a command. Not all of them do environment variables and commands, and have hooks into virtual environments. The one thing that is lacking from direnv environment is aliases. And there's a really cool program out there called aliases, ES. And what it is conceptualized directory aliases. So you CDN, you get a series of aliases, you leave, all those aliases disappear. When direnv environment picks up support for this, I think that'll be a lot better, because now you got a nice all-in-one Swiss Army knife. gopass. Mileage is going to vary on a lot of these. I tried a couple of them out. There are command line versions of all these really cool tools. Okay, so Bitwarden, LastPass, Pass, which here's a fun fact: Pass is API was the original gopass. And gopass is API compatible 100% with pass. The only problem is pass doesn't support synchronizing to GitHub, which makes gopass a lot better. And pass is very Linux oriented, so it doesn't run on Windows. There is a tool out there called Get Secrets. It is in alpha, and to me it has a problem. It almost expects the password file. It wants you to set up ignores for all the clear text versions. So you're checking in the encrypted versions. So now now you go back to the problem where you have clear text files on your host, so if somebody hacks in, they can see what's inside those clear text files. The benefit of this is CI/CD platforms. It's a lot easier to integrate your CI/CD when you do it, when your CI/CD does a git clone and starts running through the linting process and anything else that needs to check, that the secrets are part of that CI/CD platform. However, there's a tool called Summon, which I have on a final slide in this deck, that seems to integrate with gopass. You can do the same thing there. Slight bonus round. As I mentioned, their environment works with many different virtualized environments. So your Python, so your PyEnv, your Condo or Condas and all that jazz. I was going to save that for another talk. It seemed to be a little bit outside the scope of this one. I wanted to keep this kind of simple with, here's this really cool tool, their environment simple to use, and here's this really cool tool, gopass, simple to use. You should integrate those two and start encrypting anything that needs to be encrypted. And to help you along with this, there's a program called Detect Secrets, written by a company or a GitHub person called Yelp. And it looks for the high entropy strings in your repository, and kind of will help point out, hey, here's a secret that you might want to do something about, and pull that out of your repository. This particular secret here, or this particular repository here, is also pre-commit aware. So I don't know if you're familiar with the pre-commit framework. The pre-commit framework, if you were to start a fresh repository and this was part of your pre-commit, when you go to do a commit, this program would run and prevent you from actually pushing the secret to the cloud.
How does it detect?
It looks for high entropy strings, so it's a Python program.
Okay.
Download and look at it. And then for gopass CI/CD, here's the URL to summon. So I kind of went a little quick. Wasn't a whole lot of information. Definitely wasn't going to be as cool as last week's. However, speaking about last week's, one thing I noticed with gopass is you saw how I was launching gopass in my env.rc file. So it's your standard 2 backticks or $print for the new style to execute the code and bring it back. I'm doing some work with Ansible myself, and inside the Ansible config, you point to the Ansible vault file. And the Ansible vault file typically sits over here in clear text. And once you do your playbook, that passphrase gets sucked in and unlocks your vaults, so that now all those secrets can be exposed to the runtime process, right? One thing about Ansible config is that file can be an executable script. So if you change that to say bin get vault pass.sh, and inside there one call to gopass show my Ansible vault password, now you have secretly stored your Ansible vault password on your system, and you let this whole process just unlock the secrets by you entering in your GPG key. If that makes sense. Yeah, it works out really slick. So that's all I got. Q&A. If anybody wants a demo, more on the demo, I can show you more in the demo. If anybody wants to try this, we can try it. Otherwise, I'm getting thirsty and parched. So it's time for sig beer. Yeah, it was. It wasn't really going to be a long 30-some-odd minute meeting, but.
Do we know what's, thank you, Chad. That's good. Do we know what's new in 435? You can, I can kill your screen share.
No one has been updated.
There we go. Okay, so Aaron had mentioned in chat, gopass is nice since it only has one executable as well. And direnv and gopass they really work well together. So.
Yeah, Aaron was with me when we set the, when I introduced gopass to the team.
So. So that'll be.
Was your lack of internet requirement, to just like have a private repository on a local area network?
Are talking on here
Yeah.
for the demo?
Not really the demo, but just, I noticed like the comparison, Bitwarden requires an internet connection. Shared.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. So when you use tools like Bitwarden or gopass, you're talking to a remote database, right? So if you're doing development and you're substituting out gopass for one of those tools, you cannot program in an isolated environment. So the only real fault with gopass is that if I'm doing development offline and Dave calls me up and says, I changed the team password, can you do a gopass sync? I can't do it if I'm offline. But the second I do a gopass sync, all those new passphrases are stored on the local system. So I can stay in an offline development environment.
Okay.
Can you set up a local instance of Bitwarden?
You could, but it's still server oriented. I suppose you can run Bitwarden in a Docker container on your local host.
Right, okay.
But like if you're like me, I'm on multiple computers all at the same time. I mean, or not at the same time, but I have a computer at home, computer at work. I got my right. This one, I got that one, and I clone I synchronize my repository all over the place. So if I'm using gopass to encrypt those things as a one person team, I can leverage the syncing capabilities and keep gopass synchronized across all these boxes, just like all my repositories, right?
Yeah.
So now I don't have to worry about that, where Bitwarden by spinning up a Docker container or something like that. That makes it more cumbersome to synchronize all the way around, where this just leverages GitHub, so.
Right, yeah, I was thinking, so I've been at places where we've talked about spinning up a Bitwarden instance for the business, for anyone in the company to use. So I was thinking like, okay, that would be useful in context. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
It can, and it shouldn't stop you from doing that, because in that business context, you could have some of those passwords offloaded. There's no harm in using multiple password managers. Okay, gopass is a little complex because it's down on command line. A lot of people are uncomfortable on command line.
Right.
Where Bitwarden has a nicer interface at the UI level, but you're still going to want to leverage the Bitwarden command line client at the bottom. Right. You're going to want to experiment with how BW space go look this key up and comes back. How difficult is that going to be to reach in and grab that passphrase so you can leverage it in something like this?
Yeah.
And the reason why I said projects is because not everybody uses GitHub. Some people just create a directory and they go off and run and start. I want to start doing stuff and here's some secrets, and you know they're not synchronized with anybody. So
right.
But there could be a cost associated with GitHub.
No, because I mean this falls under the purview of free repositories. So you understand GitHub does both unlimited free and private repositories.
There was a limit of 5 or something like that.
That could be, maybe they changed, but that's not stopping you from running.
It's been like 5 years.
I mean, effectively, you just need somebody that talks to Git. I don't know if this is subversion oriented, but I don't see why it couldn't be. But most people are using Git nowadays anyway, so you can just get that bucket. I don't know, there's a 100 of them out there. Robbie, you have no?
Yeah, so one of the things I use more frequently than I would ever have thought in KeyPass is it keeps a history of the previous usernames and passwords for each entry. Does gopass do that? Sorry.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't see it from the front side. But well, no, it does. It does keep a history. It's Git oriented.
You should be able to pull it out.
I mean,
So-
you have an entire dip log on your password.
Then that leads me to question, if you're planning a release and you're trying to change your passwords in a week, and somebody does a sync and they're doing something early, for example, is there any provisions for planning the passwords later?
Off the top of my head, I would say, well, so first of all, team communication is always a key thing for everyone on the team, right? So, but it probably comes down to store organization, right? So you could have a store that is like production and probably a store that's like development. Right, you can
So if you've
set up
got
any sources you want.
Development, QA test, and then production.
And since it's all ran on keys, public keys, when somebody leaves the team, you just wipe their public key, and now they no longer have access to the store.
Okay.
So if you need those higher, that's really good for those super higher, these passwords go out to the field kind of thing, as opposed to, benign passwords. A lot of people use Baker and Baker. So I do a Baker enough in the password of Baker and Baker. So we took all those kind of passwords, and those are benign passwords that our team is using to put all those in GoPass and lock them all up and down. But because they were benign, we did not go to the password in the system. But we're gonna lose this year, right? It's gonna keep us going back.
Right.
Who else? What else?
Is there help at the command line? Like, is it?
Yeah.
Does it
So-
tell you the other commands? Oh, good, sorry. Copy the password value to the clipboard.
So there's a full feature set. I cannot say we use this entire feature set because we have everything automated in our repositories to do. Going through your environment, we see the in there directory, GoPass show kicks up, shows us the passwords that we need, and now we can go off and do whatever we need in that environment. So we have mitigated our exposure that somebody's got to hack into the box and somehow become me inside that shell to see what's going on in my environment. And as soon as I get out of that, that all goes away. And since it runs under GPG, it has the same 5 or 10 minute timeout. So 5 or 10 minutes after I have that, the storage gets locked back up. And if I just hit enter, I get a prompt for, hey, what's your password? So minor annoyance, but there you go. Works whether you're on a graphical system or a non-graphical system, because GPG developers are pretty smart and making sure that, hey, you're gonna be able to get into your stuff. So it's leveraging a couple of really good tools to make everything happen. Reliable GPG and Git.
As far as the compliance that we have to, or anybody would look at, HIPAA, let's just, the idea that you have a secure environment, it seems like you could say, if there's a requirement to be compliant, you could set this up as here's how we're doing this. So it would be, like you said, a 10-minute timeout, sort of make a case, even if it's not specifically something that's known. It seems like you could put together a story that says, hey, we're compliant because how this thing works, how we manage it.
Yeah, I mean, you can on Teams say that nobody's getting access to these without a 8,196-bit key. So anything like 4,096 or lower, we're not going to accept that key. You can put variables right in there. I think GPG can be overridden by variables on the timeout, right?
What was that?
GPG timeout can be overridden by a variable. I think it's a timeout.
Back up.
So there.
But that's an environment variable, then the user can override that as well. So if human error doesn't get in there, but you can set up policy to say this is all we're gonna do.
I can stop with you.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Any other questions? You go back down to this a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe this can be used for more than just the development environment. examples.
Yeah, so you even have some, one-time or HMAC based tokens put in there.
And it has a built-in history.
And a lot of these turn out that they're just, commands right back to Git.
And
So
you
the
can
gopass-
essentially just do it locally, you wouldn't have to always. I'm just do what's in the you can do it locally.
Yep. And the, gopass sync is nothing more than a push and fetch.
It's got templates built in, that's nice.
So one area where it's being really handy for me, yeah, so I actually did that with the API key, so there was something where we were doing a bigger enough to test something out, test a repository out. So in the bigger enough process, we do a git clone. And I just updated our documentation set to say, whoever's testing stuff has to go to this bucket, get an API token and put this over here in the gopass code. And then when you see the directory, it pulls out that key, and then when you do it bigger up, it uses your key to access the registry or the Git repository server, pulls down clones the repository.
Okay.
That way it can be automated using your key. And then you take that one step further with something like summon, and now you can put that into a CI/CD pipeline. So Jenkins or Travis or whoever.
I don't know you guys, but I gotta see the QR code being generated.
Where's that?
Dash QR, the fourth one down.
Okay, let's try it. I could use all on. There you go.
Oh,
So that's cool.
Yeah, probably need to,
Yeah.
bring it down.
pull your screen back up on the,
Oh,
no, on the,
You're not connected.
you're not connected. You're not sharing your screen.
That's okay, it's showing up on here.
Oh, okay.
That's what turn on.
Okay.
Nice.
Good notice, I didn't notice that the QR codes.
That's awesome.
It's a pretty neat program and it's actively being made, so. And it helped us get passwords at least from being undeclared to being something. Who cares about if somebody gets access to repository, sees something says, go pass, show me this password. They're not gonna know what that password is. So at that moment, now they gotta go and try to start hacking GPG. Last time I checked, it was pretty fairly secure, especially if you have the 4096 or 8192 bit key, so.
Are you saying that you could execute a command in place of putting a hard coded password?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So if I cat out. So when I CD, so when I CD into this directory called dir environment gopass, which is my Git repository, dir environment, which is a shell hook, automatically loads this file. And this file is saying I want to export right now these three variables. Okay, these two on the bottom are executing a command saying gopass, show me this password, and gopass, show me that password. And that returns them into the variables. So now shell scripts, Python programs, whatever I have inside my repository that I'm doing for a build process or whatever, can leverage these variables using those passwords. And then when I leave, they all get unloaded. Because the dir environment hook says upon exit, unload all variables. Well, this is what I set up at your shop, man. You know. Yeah, this is where the price of admission.
Wait till this weekend. You'll have it.
Well, they'll get it working now. Chad, if you were parched 30 minutes ago, you're probably
I know.
almost ready to pass out from.
Quick presentation, but you know, it's all work.
Just gotta.
Q and A has just been heck.
Questions, in the QR thing.
All right. Well,
I'm happy to answer more questions. You know, if you want to wait, you know, safety are right around the corner, so.
Here's Dave, bring us home.
okay. Am I back? Am I up? Do I care?
Yeah. You're the only speaker.
Okay. So next December 7th, Tuesday, will be our next meeting, and that will be lightning talks and some socially. We'll have some munchies. Let's just say that.
Socially distanced social time.
Yeah, socially distanced social time. And then watch out for the call for speakers for 2022. And that's it. Have a great month.